Most people tend to think of having an allergy or a sensitivity to a food would be things extreme like throwing up or horrible diarrhea or constipation. And yet, lots of people struggle with things like bloating, a lot of digestive issues. However, there are other ones, joint pain. Do you have this unexplained, tenderness or achiness certain times? Headaches is a big one. And again, most people don't think of it in relationship to what we've eaten. What about things like rashes? I know 4 years ago, I had a horrific rash. It was really more like hives, and it was all over my neck and shoulders, my face, and it was related to some food and a detox I had done. Weight gain is another one. Unexplained weight gain. Now, let's face it, a lot of times we know why we're putting on weight, but think how often we think, I'm doing everything right, and yet I'm still putting on weight. So these are just a few of the things that might pop up that you may never connect to the fact that you're eating something that your body does not like. So let's talk about some of those foods that could fall into that category. First of all, we know wheat is a big one. A lot of people are like, I'm staying away from wheat. It's really popular to be gluten free, but it isn't always just gluten. Dairy is another big one. We hear a lot of conflicting ideas, reports on is it good, is it not? But then there are other things like eggs. A lot of people struggle with eggs. And again, they may not even know. Corn. Corn is huge. Soy is another one. So there are lots of things. Nuts. I love nuts. But sometimes that can be problematic. It might be something just like grains. So, for example, rice could be causing you a problem. Another one that surprises people, tomatoes. Tomatoes, potatoes, peppers are all in a category called nightshades, and they can cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. So I want to recommend three things that will help you. And these are all free that you can do easily and you can start to implement right away. First of all, it's something as simple as write down what you're eating. Keep track of the foods. Write those things down, what time you're eating them. Because a lot of times later, maybe it's a few hours later, 30 minutes later, it could even be the next day or a couple days, you might have something flare up. And maybe it is one of those things. You wake up and you've got a rash. For some people, it's maybe a sore throat. I know for me, when I eat dairy, a lot of times my eyes are just really goopy. I can almost bank on that one. Those are little signs that you've got a sensitivity. And chances are, a lot of them will be things that you will have gotten used to, and you will swear you don't have any issues. But yet, what often happens is when you pull those out of your diet and you wait a while and then you go back, often you know then. Next thing, pretty simple, weigh yourself every day. If you're having issues with any of these foods I talked about, these foods become inflammatory. And so that could easily be causing that extra weight gain, that puffiness. Another one for me is puffy around the eyes, sometimes being hoarse or your throat scratching. Okay, the next thing is going to seem a little strange, but the third thing I want you to do is take your waist size. Measure yourself. Now, you may wonder why. Well, think about it. Like I said, a lot of the foods are going to be inflammatory. And so there's a good chance you're going to be maybe bloated. And this way you can tell. So, for example, let's say you have a 30-inch waist, and then you eat certain foods, and it just seems like, boom, the next day, all of a sudden, or the next morning, your waist is 31 inches. And it's like, wait a minute, it shouldn't have gone up 1 inch. You will start to recognize patterns. Now, make sure you write the symptoms down as well. My mom, for years, often struggled with tomatoes. They're very acidic, and if you have a sensitive stomach, they can definitely bother you. And don't make the mistake of thinking, but that's a healthy food. Why would it bother me? The best way is keeping track of your weight and measurements to really follow to see if it's possible that certain foods are bothering you. So I'd love to know, give it a try. Let me know. Are there foods, maybe there are foods you automatically know. There may be some that I didn't mention, but you'll begin to see, that wasn't one that she mentioned. But every other day, I'm struggling with whatever it is. And let's make sure we avoid eating these foods that are inflammatory. So, for more healthy tips on living well, follow me at Coach Maggie for Health. And as always, God bless.